Tonight, a truckie shock after a close call for families in Melbourne's southeast. A music festival under fire, 1 dead, 4 hospitalised. Calls for action on safety. A 9-year-old in hospital after a pool rescue as Moomba melts and Melbourne faces a long, hot night. A touching tribute as locals finish Samantha Murphy's final run. The Royals facing questions over a picture of Princess Kate. Exclusive, Victoria scores a $2 billion GST boost. And a star's cheeky stunt steals the show as Oppenheimer claims 7 Oscars.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. An unlicensed truck driver is facing charges of driving drunk after he smashed into parked cars, narrowly avoiding family homes. Police allege he was more than 3 times the legal alcohol limit when he lost control in Melbourne's southeast.
The truck barrelled down Dull Drive-in officer just after 10:30 last night, collecting 2 parked cars and uprooting a tree in the chaotic crash.
Imagine if that well-rooted tree would not have been there, either this house or that house would have been under that speeding truck.
Police allege the 29-year-old truckie was unlicensed and recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.157, more than 3 times the legal limit.
It was chaos. It was very chaotic. It was absolute carnage.
I was inside, I heard multiple bangs, like bang, bang, bang.
It's understood the driver of the truck was visiting friends in the street. The vehicles he crashed into belonged to them.
By the time I went there, the driver was gone.
Yep.
So I didn't know. I thought at that time he's done a runner.
Several families say they're shocked at how close the truck came to their homes.
I was so stressed. The distance between this tree and my bed is less than 10 metres.
The truck driver is facing multiple serious charges, including dangerous driving, driving without a licence and drink driving. He will front the Dandenong Magistrates Court at a later date.
The whole incident was so stressful. I couldn't sleep the whole night.
Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
To breaking news now, and up to 50 passengers and crew have been injured when their Sydney to Auckland flight reportedly experienced a sudden drop over the Tasman. 13 people are being treated in a New Zealand hospital, with 1 patient in a serious condition. Chilean airline Latam has apologised, saying a technical problem with the plane caused a strong movement. A music festival tragedy is triggering calls for stricter safety rules at Victorian dance parties. A 23-year-old Nidri man died and 4 other revellers were rushed to hospital from an event critics say should have been called off sooner.
In the shadows of the Grampians, a tragic end to the cancelled Pitch Music and Arts Festival.
I hope everyone comes back next year and has a good time.
Organisers blamed the heat before confirmation a 23-year-old man had died from a suspected drug overdose.
It's a terrible scenario and it could have been avoided if the Victorian Government had stepped up on a Friday when we knew the risk. 4
other festival goers needed hospital treatment.
We need a better system for managing these things.
The CFA and local authorities raised safety concerns late last week. Victoria's rules and regulations not as tough as other states.
Definitely, they could have told us more, but it is what it is.
Feeling a bit disappointed that it was cut short. A lot of acts were cancelled throughout the festival as well. So we feel like we didn't quite get our money's worth.
For thousands, getting out last night wasn't possible. Forced to spend the night in sweltering heat.
Young people having no idea what that substance is going to do to them. And then you compound that with the extreme heat that we've seen over this past weekend. This was truly a disaster waiting to happen.
The event's remote location has made it hard for festival goers to contact friends and family. And with extremely limited reception, some revellers didn't even know the festival had been cancelled.
Potentially 15,000 people could have been caught in the national park at the end of a bushfire. It would have been a horrific outcome.
Festival organisers wouldn't comment on camera. Tyra Stowers, 7 News.
A 9-year-old boy is in hospital tonight after he was pulled from a swimming pool in the northwestern suburbs. Rochelle Brown is at the Royal Children's Hospital. And Rochelle, he was unresponsive when he came out of the water.
Mitch, paramedics were called to the Waves Leisure Centre at Melton this afternoon, where they worked on a 9-year-old boy after he got into trouble in the water. Now, he was transported to the Royal Children's Hospital in a serious condition, where he does remain tonight, but the hospital has just confirmed he is now stable. A 9-year-old boy in a serious condition after a near drowning in Melbourne's west, as Victoria's record-breaking heatwave rolled into a third day.
And that's involved 3 consecutive days of the maximum temperatures being 10 to 15 degrees above the March average.
38 degrees in Melbourne on Saturday, 37 on Sunday, and hovering in the mid-30s today, the hottest 3 days in a row since the start of summer.
We've got all the fans on, the air conditioning's running at full peak, but I can tell you it's not really making much difference.
The heat is what brings people out, and that to us is what we need.
Families hit the water to keep cool in backyards and on the south coast, with hundreds of drivers facing a slow crawl home. Relief is on the way. Conditions are expected to ease from tomorrow morning, but the Bureau is warning there's another uncomfortable hot night ahead.
And it's being driven by this blocking high pressure system sitting in the Tasman Sea, and it's directing a really persistent hot northerly wind across southeastern Australia.
High temperatures saw the Moomba Parade cancelled for the first time in history.
Standing here in the heat at about 10:30, we're already at 30 degrees. I know that we've made the right call.
But the Monarchs still had their moment in the sun.
We're probably two of the fairest skinned Moomba Monarchs over the years, so I'm not sure if that played a part in the end. Obviously the extreme heat has rained on our parade, I guess. But it's amazing that so many people have still come down.
A handful of families braved the heat for a much smaller performance. I love you. 600,000 attended the first 4 days of the festival, around 200,000 less than the same time last year. The parade won't be rescheduled, but the Monarchs may be invited back next year. Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
A man has died in a tragic end to an argument in Melbourne's outer east. Police say the 35-year-old died at a home in Belgrave around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Forensic officers spent the night at the property looking for evidence. A 30-year-old Belgrave man was interviewed by police but has been released without charge pending further inquiries. There has been a touching tribute to Samantha Murphy, with almost 100 women running in her honour. They came together to complete the run that she didn't get to finish.
Together in the dark, almost 100 runners completing what missing mum Samantha Murphy couldn't after she was killed on her regular Sunday route.
Good job, girl, thanks. There were lots of hugging. There was lots of people mentioned that as we were running, they had tears.
Felicity Ryan put a call out on social media on Friday, only expecting a few people to turn up.
I arrived and there was a handful of people, and then the cars just started piling in.
The group of friends and strangers stood for a minute's silence before heading off on the 7-kilometre run around Ocean Grove at 5:30 yesterday morning.
I've got goosebumps talking about it now, actually. It was just, it was the most heartfelt morning you can imagine.
22-year-old Patrick Oren Stevenson was arrested and charged last Wednesday with Ms Murphy's murder. He's refusing to cooperate with police, and the 51-year-old's body is yet to be located.
A lot of people were talking about what had happened and how, runners in particular, female runners in particular, don't feel safe running in the dark or on their own.
For now, they're hoping the run becomes an annual event. Beth Yeoman, 7 News.
The royal family is facing questions tonight over a photo of the Princess of Wales. The Mother's Day picture posted to Instagram has been caught up in a storm of Photoshop theories and accusations.
A picture meant to quell the rumour mill, already having the opposite effect. A happy image of the Princess of Wales alongside her 3 children, marking Mother's Day in the UK. But it's now been pulled by international picture agencies, with accusations it's been manipulated.
The speculation during the day online, you don't know what to think of it, perhaps just best ignore it. But now we have those respected news agencies coming out and saying we can no longer have good faith in this photograph.
Keen observers pointing out irregularities. Princess Charlotte's sleeve appears not to line up, blurs in the pattern on Prince Louis's jumper, even the background seems to have been doctored. Another curiosity, Kate not wearing her wedding ring.
And in terms of the speculation around this photo, it is only going to fuel the fires, I think, of those conspiracy theorists.
Kensington Palace says the photo was taken by Prince William last week. The controversy taking the shine off Kate's message, "Thank you for your kind wishes and continued support over the last 2 months." The princess not officially seen since Christmas as she recovers from planned abdominal surgery.
Well, here we have a lovely photograph of her taken a good 3 weeks before Easter. So that's very encouraging news, I think.
Performing his public duty from behind closed doors, the King speaking to camera tonight for the first time since starting cancer treatment.
In recent weeks, I have been most deeply touched by your wonderfully kind and thoughtful good wishes for my health.
It's an address he'd normally give in person at the annual Commonwealth Day service. Instead, he filmed this at Windsor Castle last month, within days of learning of his cancer diagnosis, leaving it to Queen Camilla to lead the family at this year's service. In London, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
And Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfield joins us now from Buckingham Palace. And Hugh, what are the chances of an official royal response?
Well, Peter, the palace might be hoping to neither complain or explain its way out of this one, but some headlines here may make for an uncomfortable day for those who signed off on the photo. The conservative broadsheet Daily Telegraph quotes photo agencies saying the picture was doctored. The Mail says the photo was meant to provide reassurance, but asks, has it backfired? While the Mirror and the Sun are kinder, the Sun calling it a Photoshop gaffe. The royal family will gather in the coming hours for the annual Commonwealth Day service. The King and Kate will, of course, be missing. Mitch.
Hugh Whitfield in London, thank you. Back home, and Victoria is the big winner in the GST carve-up for the next financial year. 7 News can reveal exclusively that the state will pick up an extra $2 billion, while New South Wales will take a major cash hit.
Canberra's skyline comes alive. A city renowned for its hot air, putting some of it to good use in the annual Balloon Festival.
It is stunning.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
As the states brace for tomorrow's new GST carve-up from the Commonwealth Grants Commission, which will deflate some state budgets. 7 News can reveal New South Wales's 2024-25 allocation will be slashed by $1.5 billion. Queensland's cut by about $1 billion. The big winner, Victoria, with a $2 billion increase. It's understood stronger than expected coal sales, increased state royalties and population movements will change the proportion of GST dollars per person each state will receive. New South Wales will drop from 92 cents to 86, Queensland will fall from 102 to 96, but Victoria will increase from 85 to 96, while WA will increase from 70 to 75 and South Australia from $1.39 to $1.40. The Commonwealth Grants Commission is an independent body, but that probably won't protect the federal government from copping heat from some of its state Labor colleagues over this. As the Federal Treasurer announces a big change,
we will permanently abolish almost 500 nuisance tariffs.
5% on a wide range of imported goods,
including hand tools and toothbrushes and fridges and dishwashers and clothing.
Retailers vowing any savings will be passed on in lower prices.
Retailers will be doing everything they can to eliminate costs and reduce prices for consumers.
But cautions the cost of living relief at the cash register will be modest. Mark Riley, 7 News.
State opposition leader John Pesutto is calling for calm as he faces new questions on uniting the Liberal Party and resolving the legal action brought by exiled MP Moira Deeming.
Party reform is not something you can achieve overnight, and I always said that at the time, that it would take some time to address those issues internally, and we're making our way through those processes.
Mr Pesutto says he believes the party room is more cohesive than it was 12 months ago. 80 years on, the story of the scientist who developed the atomic bomb has dominated Hollywood's biggest awards night. Oppenheimer claimed 7 Oscars, but the blockbuster film was almost upstaged by a cheeky stunt.
From the start, they were consoling Barbie and Ken.
You both already won something much more important, the genetic lottery.
The 96th Academy Awards like a final score in the Barbenheimer battle.
The way this award season's turned out wasn't that much of a rivalry.
But there was no doubt which act truly lit up Hollywood's Dolby Theatre. Ryan Gosling winning wild applause. Yet Barbie's only Oscar for its other original song. What was I made for? An old Academy scandal recreated as John Cena played Streaker to present costume design.
Costumes, they are so important.
Ukraine winning its first Oscar with a war documentary, and Gaza's plight highlighted with protests outside and inside, stars wearing red ceasefire pins on Hollywood's most watched walk.
The Oscars red carpet is the final stretch of the award season, and the little gold statue, the prestigious prize at the finish line.
Best Actress,
Emma Stone.
One of 4 gongs for Poor Things.
Oh boy, this is really overwhelming.
But it was Oppenheimer's night. 7 Oscars, Best Director, Best Actor.
Cillian Murphy.
For better or for worse, we're all living in Oppenheimer's world, so I would really like to dedicate this to the peacemakers everywhere.
And the big one, Best Picture.
And may I see Oppenheimer? Yes. Yes, Emma Thomas, Charles Grodin.
Al Pacino's botched announcement forgiven as Oppenheimer claimed its crown. In Hollywood, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
Tim Watson joins us now with a look ahead to sport. And Tim, new vision has emerged of Mason Cox's run-in with the Giants.
Mitch, the Pies ruckman has come clean on the collision. Chief football reporter Mitch Cleary has more, and Cox has apologised, Mitch.
Well, Tim, this vision, seen for the first time, shows Cox and Collingwood teammates in at the centre bounce before GWS players arrive for their allotted window. Cox set up for what he thought was his final practice bounce. As Giants midfielders entered the circle, the Pies ruckman then follows through to attempt to hit out, making contact with Giants assistant Shane Mumford. Cox responding today as the AFL investigates the pre-game incident.
The very last one I was going to do, the bounce actually went pretty much outside of the circle, and I asked the umpire, I said, do you mind if I just have one more real quick? And he said, no worries, and he goes to bounce it again. And I wasn't really looking at what was going on with GWS and what was happening.
Tonight, the AFL is still working through its findings that are due out tomorrow. Tim?
Thanks, Mitch. We'll hear from you again soon. Also ahead, Alex Carey produces a career-defining performance to guide the Aussies to an epic win over New Zealand. And Mitch here from an out-of-contract star and his future and comparisons to a Brownlow medalist.
OK, thank you, Tim. We'll see you then. Next, a 15-year-old boy accused of a park attack in Melbourne's north that's left 2 men in hospital with stab wounds. Also ahead, a new twist in the Point Cook body in a bin tragedy. Victoria's Lawnmower man on a crusade to Canberra with the PM in his sights. And later, the warning signs to spot cancer before it's too late. A 15-year-old boy is facing charges over an alleged stabbing attack in a Craigieburn park. Police say a 29-year-old Glenroy man and a 20-year-old man from Point Cook both needed treatment in hospital on Saturday night. The teenager and a 25-year-old man are facing charges for intentionally causing injury and assault with a weapon. We're learning more tonight about the body in a bin tragedy in Melbourne's west. Emma O'Sullivan is tracking the case, and Emma, new details have emerged from India.
Yes, Mitch, there are international reports the couple's young son has been left with his maternal grandmother in India after his mother was killed. The remains of Point Cook woman Chaitanya Madagani, known to her friends as Shweta, were discovered on Saturday after police received a tip-off. A green wheelie bin was found abandoned at Buckley. That's around 30 kilometres west of Geelong. Its lid tied shut.
Well, clearly they've already made contact with the Indian police, and their main focus, apart from continuing the investigation here in Victoria to start putting all the evidence together, he is certainly a significant person of interest that they would be wanting to speak to.
The family Point Cook home was a crime scene over the weekend, police collecting multiple pieces of evidence there. It's believed Shweta's husband has flown to India with his son, handing the child to his in-laws before disappearing. Mitch?
Emma O'Sullivan at police headquarters, thank you. A driver has been arrested for crashing his car into the gates outside Buckingham Palace. Witnesses recorded the aftermath as police surrounded the driver. The suspect has been released on bail. Police say it's not being treated as terror-related, with the broken gates now boarded up. A missing Sydney boy living with autism and Down syndrome has been found safe and well after 2 nights away from his family. The 12-year-old was located in a stairwell at a medical centre.
One of the staff members thought to check the stairwell, which is exactly what we're asking, and as a result we found him.
He was taken to hospital for a checkup and was cleared of any injury. A Victorian truckie fighting motor neurone disease is embarking on the most important road trip of his life, on a ride-on mower. Warren Acott is driving to Canberra to demand more government help in the search for a cure.
Diagnosed with MND last August, the only vehicle former truckie Warren Acott can drive is his ride-on lawnmower. Now, a final road trip to tell politicians firsthand about the disease.
It's just a gut-wrenching thing. It just tears you to bits. It just rips your guts right out till you got nothing left.
He wants the government to declare MND a notifiable disease, so more information is available to scientists seeking a cure quickly.
What do? Sit by and wait till the horse is bolted, or we try and catch it now?
From Tulleen, he rode to Shepparton today. Then it's on through southern New South Wales to arrive in Canberra March 22. That's 800 kilometres all up at just 20 kilometres an hour. Along the way, emotional meetings with those like 11-year-old Jack. Personal connections to MND.
He's in tears because his grandfather died of it.
Support today from Neil Danaher. Wazza has chosen the roads he knows so well to show his fight.
I just hope I'm doing something good and not embarrassing the MND community or anything. I just want to try and do something. One last thing before I go.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Good luck to you, Wazza. Australia's proudest sports fans are locked in a David versus Goliath legal fight with a major American company. Exclusive details are next on 7 News. Also coming up, a 28-year-old's $100 million mission to rebuild a Toorak ghost mansion. A footy star embroiled in a sex scandal in the name of charity. And coming up, breaking down the best and the brightest fashion statements from the Oscars red carpet. Four teenagers have been caught scaling the Evan Walker Bridge in Southbank. 2 were filmed in a social media video, climbing to the top of the arch almost 17 metres above the Yarra. PSOs were called and the group was able to get down safely with no injuries. A group of die-hard Australian sports fans is locked in a David versus Goliath legal battle. The Fanatics are fighting to stop a US multinational from using their name.
They're the small, much-loved suppliers of travel and merch for Australia's green and gold army. The Fanatics, founded by patriot publican Warren Livingston in 1997.
We've been doing this for 27 years, all around the world, many different sporting events. It is a part of Australian culture.
But it's a business under threat today in federal court to fight a $48 billion US merchandise company, also called Fanatics.
Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
The US version's owned by billionaire Michael Rubin, backed by Beyonce's husband Jay-Z, and making moves on Australia. From Livingston's lawyer, in short, it's a clash between a long-standing Australian business and a large US corporation. A key consideration is who was first. The court heard Rubin's company was called Football Fanatics, but changed in 2010. They argue Fanatics Australia is a travel business first, merchandise second. Warren Livingston paints it as the ultimate Aussie battler story, just like the movie The Castle, but a small businessman going to court to tell an American giant they're dreaming.
It's Mabo, it's justice, it's law, it's the vibe.
Well, it is about the vibe, isn't it? This is Australia, This is it's about protecting our own, protecting our business.
Hoping for a chance of serenity soon. Chris Reason, 7 News.
US President Joe Biden has sent a warning to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the growing death toll in Gaza. Biden says Netanyahu has a right to defend his country, but not at any cost.
He must pay more attention to the innocent lives being lost as a consequence of the actions taken. In my view, he's hurting Israel more than helping Israel.
Biden added that he wants a ceasefire and a prisoner exchange. Hamas leaders say they're still open to truce talks with Israel after the last attempt broke down. It has not been a great day on the markets. Here's finance editor Gemma Acton.
Thank you. Well, after setting a new record high on Friday, it was a different story today, with the ASX 200 notching up its steepest fall in more than a year. Every single sector finished the session in the red. The Aussie dollar is only just clinging on above 66 US cents, while iron ore prices have taken a sharp leg lower. And artificial intelligence, or AI, could play a key role in boosting Australia's sluggish productivity growth. That's according to some economists. But we will need to spend more money on technology. Australia currently invests around half as much as the US does in software. That's relative to the size of our economies.
Thanks, Gemma. One of the biggest names in rugby league is facing sex assault accusations. His accuser today sobbed in court as she relived details of their encounter.
While his days in the NRL are over, allegations made against him as a player are not. George Burgess denies touching a woman inside her mascot home in May 2022. The pair had known each other for years. She had reached out asking for a signed jersey for charity. Burgess said when he arrived at her place, they hugged. She went over to the kitchen bench. I went to see what tea she was making because I like Yorkshire tea. At that point, I touched her lower back and asked which kind she was making. Burgess denies groping her, admitting she wasn't receptive because he was married with kids. But he persisted. Don't be like that. Just cuddle with me. Come on, just 5 minutes. Stay and be naughty with me. Nothing has ever happened between us, but it should. And it didn't that day either. Burgess texted her a devil emoji. What happened today was a form of sexual assault, she wrote. This could ruin not only your family, but also your career. Please forgive me. I obviously made a wrong judgment. Earlier, a close friend of the alleged victim recalled what she told him happened that day. As he was giving evidence, the woman started sobbing and ran out of the courtroom. George Burgess will find out his fate in May. Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
Australia's youngest billionaire is tipped to spend $145 million to rebuild his recently purchased Toorak mansion. 28-year-old crypto gambling king Edward Craven is turning the so-called ghost mansion into a luxurious modern property. The mega renovation is expected to take up to 3 years and once complete would be Australia's most expensive home. Next, a fire emergency has broken out just metres from one of Melbourne's biggest hospitals. Also ahead on 7 News, spotting the danger signs of cancer before it's too late. A skier's death-defying escape caught on camera, and the show-stopping fashion statements from the Oscars red carpet. A garbage truck has erupted in flames outside the Alfred Hospital on Commercial Road in South Yarra. Fire crews managed to contain the blaze within 5 minutes of arriving at the scene. The driver was able to pull over and did escape uninjured. The boss of the Police Association is calling for a state government backflip on plans to raise the criminal age of responsibility to 14 by 2027.
It'd be welcome leadership by the state government. Now certainly not the time, and we've long held concerns about raising the age, particularly past the age of 12.
A government spokesperson today confirmed the reforms will go ahead despite reports of division inside the Labor Party over the policy. A generation after the famed slip, slop, slap commercials, Australians are still failing to protect themselves from the sun. That's the key takeout from new cancer data, which shows much better success in the promotion of screening.
Even by our own admission, Australians aren't scoring well on cancer prevention.
I don't always do everything I'm supposed to do, though.
I don't want to answer that.
The Cancer Council has tallied data from its online risk calculator. 50,000 have sat the test, and
we really do need to lift our prevention game.
2/3 of us aren't eating enough fruit, 90% not enough vegetables, 1 in 7 still drinks too much, the same number still smokes.
And 2/3 are not getting enough physical activity.
As for being sun smart, it's a fail. 40 years after this, fewer than half of us are getting regular skin checks, wearing hats and using sunscreen when we should.
Not really much for hats or sunscreen, maybe that at the most.
A lot of people think that it's just in the middle of the day that you need to use sun protection, or when you're at the beach, but really it's every day.
But there is good news when it comes to cancer screening. 3/4 of those eligible have been tested for cervical and bowel cancer, while up to 90% of women are on track with their breast screening.
If we find cancer early, it can lead to a better prognosis for people. So that's really important that we do find our cancer early.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
A skier has recorded his own death-defying plunge down a hidden waterfall in Japan after the hazard was covered in snow. The New Zealander's helmet camera recorded his fall and the difficult mission to return to the surface. He escaped unharmed. The Oscars started in style, with Hollywood's brightest stars teaming up with top designers to shine on the red carpet. But not everything went to plan on a night the fashion almost upstaged the awards.
Margot Robbie ditched Barbie pink. There was the odd stumble, but Hollywood's most stylish night didn't disappoint. With black and white, the epitome of elegance on the red carpet. The Dolby Theatre is where fashion fairy tales come true. The silhouettes were striking. Eva Longoria turning heads in a sharp-shouldered gown. Emily Blunt shining with elevated straps.
Emily, if you want. Emily, right here.
Back at the Oscars after 6 years, Jennifer Lawrence in a custom Christian Dior dress covered in dots. A design making its red carpet return. Vanessa Hudgens started the fashion show with a statement.
And I clearly have a lot to be excited for.
Emma Stone arrived in a pale mint Louis Vuitton peplum piece. But even after months of planning for perfection...
my dress is broken.
I think it happened during I'm Just Ken. Before Ryan Gosling swapped into pink for the show-stopping performance, a rare red carpet move from the Barbie star. He arrived without his wife, instead walking alongside his mother, stepdad and sister in a black Gucci suit.
Up top, up top, up top.
A kaleidoscope of colour mixed with the classic tuxedo look. The usually rugged Rock in a silk three-piece suit, Roger Federer serving up a white jacket with a pair of sunnies and an $80,000 Rolex.
It's a totally different world than what I'm usually used to.
A world exclusive to the biggest stars in the brightest designs. Rebecca Madden, 7 News.
I think Roger got the wrong venue. Sport is next with Tim Watson, and Tim, an out-of-contract youngster, wants his football to do the talking.
Mitch, rival clubs are circling, but he's yet to put pen to paper. Here from the midfielder next. Also, we speak with Pie star Nick Dacos, who's already eyeing off a career after footy. A live wire forward ready to return to help the Demons bounce back. Why Taylor Swift is keeping the Blues boss coy on the MCG surface, and Captain Cummins delivers the knockout blow in a test match thriller.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. And it's free, delivered to your pocket every weeknight. Spend your night wisely. Free at thenightly.com.au.
Welcome back. Collingwood star Nick Dacos is rallying behind Mason Cox over the pre-game incident with the Giants. Dacos telling 7 News he's already got an eye on life after his playing days are done.
A star of today with the next generation of potential stars. Nick Dacos unveiled as the new coach of the NAB AFL Auskick team of 2024. Perhaps a glimpse into his future.
It's definitely a pathway I want to go down further in my career. Love the game of footy, so coaching something that I aspire to do down the track.
A volleyball coach in his high school years, Dacos is now firmly focused on the Pies, hungry to reset for a round one win.
Flyers' mentality's always been to be a winner, and we'll get to work, and then Friday coming up is a great opportunity to start again at the MCG.
No hard feelings with the Giants and their provocative rivalry with Collingwood. Teammates backing Mason Cox after that pre-game incident.
It only adds to the game, and as long as we go out there, it's a fair game. But we love having Coxie. He brings so much to the table for us, and he's a great personality, so we're very lucky to have him at the club.
Jeremy Howe hit the track this morning and is yet to be cleared from a cork to face the Swans this Friday night.
Sure, I know he did another training session today, and he's moving really well, so hopefully he'll be close.
The return to grassroots, a passion of Nick's. The Premiership Pie on the lookout for the next crop of Oz kickers who'll be lucky enough to present this year's grand final medals.
Something that, I want to put a lot of energy into them and make sure that hopefully one day they can live out their dreams and sort of be doing what I'm doing now.
Laura Spurway, 7 News.
Geelong midfielder Max Holmes has given the strongest indication yet that he's keen to stay at the Cats. But a Premiership forward has suffered a fresh setback ahead of Saturday's clash with the Saints.
Compared to Chris Judd by Paddy Dangerfield, Max Holmes may need a word or two with his skipper.
It's a bit silly. I don't know why he had to come out with a big call like that. He could have just been nice about my game without doing that.
Set to play this year off half-back, the speedster faces a crunch contract call, Geelong's most important signature as rivals circle.
Do you see yourself here long term?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We just got to sort it out, I guess.
Gary Rowan's back injury now a hamstring issue and not expected to play in the first month. Outside the G to celebrate a new deal with Great Southern Bank, Michael Voss is flying with the turf inside.
Well, my daughter's a Swiftie, so I'm not allowed to denigrate anything about the experience.
A third ACL, Sam Doherty's next move revealed.
He'll be around the club, and I'm sure he'll bug the hell out of me as a coach for the next little while.
Cozzy Pickett back to help Melbourne's faltering forwards. Clayton Oliver with even more upside to come.
He's probably not at his 100% fittest, but even Claz at 70-80% fully fit is freakish.
Just 10 games last year, Peter Wright had 1 goal this summer.
A large part of the battle was getting my body healthy and getting on track, so I think I've been able to do that and get to a point now where I feel really comfortable in the body and like I'm ready to go.
Open to playing second ruck should Sam Draper not prove his fitness for Hawthorn on Saturday.
I really enjoy going through the ruck and feel like I'm able to impact the game in different ways when I'm able to do that.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
To cricket now, and Australia has pulled off an almighty comeback to snatch victory over New Zealand in the second test, chasing 279. Mitch Marsh and Alex Carey combined with a 140-run partnership, helping set up a thrilling win in Christchurch.
Against the odds, Captain Cummins sealed a memorable Aussie victory.
Pat Cummins hits the winning runs. Australia sweep New Zealand 2-0 in the series.
Alex Carey left stranded on 98.
I was happy with that.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I didn't want to get on strike again.
I had no idea he was on 98, so that would have been embarrassing.
The day needing another 202 runs, Mitch Marsh came out all guns blazing.
Oh, nose it down.
Travis Head not so lucky.
Got him! Very next ball. Can you believe that?
5 for 80, Marsh anchored the rescue mission, but was still living dangerously. Alex Carey was trapped in front, only to send it upstairs.
Really good review from Alex Carey.
Marsh continued his natural game, spelling danger signs for the Kiwis, but he came unstuck on 80, his review unsuccessful.
What a moment.
The door left ajar for New Zealand. Enter Mitchell Starc.
Yes, back-to-back Ben Sears.
7 down, 59 to win. Pat Cummins survived the hat-trick ball and partnered with Carey.
It's a good shot. That's a clever shot from Carey,
who produced a career-defining knock, coming into the test under pressure.
Backs against a wall this morning. They come out last night and really put us under the pump.
In those pivotal moments, someone stood up and made themselves a match winner. So, yeah, keep finding ways to win. It's a pretty awesome squad.
Australia remaining unbeaten in Test matches over 31 years in New Zealand. Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
The Premier League title race is delicately poised. Liverpool and Manchester City were both denied a chance to go top, having to settle for a 1-1 draw. The Reds seething after a penalty was denied by the video review.
But all the people with iPads around me were like, wow, clear. It's a 100% foul and probably a yellow card.
Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham is now just 2 points off the top 4 after a 4-0 hiding of Aston Villa. What about Nick Dacos? You rarely hear a young player say that they'd like to go coaching one day.
It doesn't surprise me at all that he seems to have it all mapped out for the whole future of his life, doesn't he?
Exactly, and he started this season okay too, although the Pies weren't particularly good.
No. He probably knows exactly how many games he's going to play too. Thank you, Tim. Sonia Marinelli joins us now with the latest on the extreme heat. And Son, we are on the home stretch.
We are, Mitch. We are entering the final hours of our long weekend heatwave. That cool change not far away. I'll have the details next.
This is where football news breaks first. This is where the game's biggest names open up. This is where you get exclusive access. This is the home of Inside AFL, only on 7 News.
Hello there. We have just one more night to swelter through before a cool wind change kicks in. It's not dramatic. It's going to gradually take hold during the morning tomorrow. So that is when you can throw open the windows and cool down the house. There's also some welcome showers coming midweek. Our low today, 20.5. We didn't quite reach 37 as forecast, stopping at 35.1. But that does make 3 days in a row now that we've hit the mid to high 30s with little to no reprieve at night. It's also our third day under these hot, gusty northerlies, which hit 60 kilometres an hour across the suburbs. And while this afternoon, just a degree or so cooler than expected, it was still stifling across the board. We have stopped the warming process now. Temperatures are slowly dropping back. The whole state is under hot, dry winds at the moment. Usually we see that hot air pooling up in the north, but this time it is coastal Victoria that has recorded the highest temps, reaching 39 down along the southwest coast. But that is where that cool change is taking hold, reaching there first tonight, flushing out the heat as it slowly tracks across the state in the overnight hours. So we've got one last hot night to contend with. Just like the last couple, we are holding close to 30 degrees right through until midnight, before then dropping down to 22 degrees in the overnight hours. The southerly winds kick in behind this trough and front as it sweeps southern Victoria overnight, and after a day or so it will start to filter through to northern parts as well. We're also expected to break this dry spell with some light showers midweek. Okay, around the nation now, and after 4 days near 38, Adelaide dropping to 34 tomorrow. Hobart is just 20 under cloud. Here, the overnight cool change will reduce the fire danger to moderate across southern Victoria as the winds gradually tend southerly. That's also going to help keep a lid on temperatures. Cloud thickens across the south too, delivering some light isolated showers, but northern Victoria is missing out. It will be another hot, dry and mostly sunny day there. Melbourne will feel warm at first before that cool wind change takes hold, turning cool and cloudy by the afternoon, but it should stay dry here. Most suburbs should land around 25 or 26 degrees. The city reaching for an early high of 25. Looking ahead, around 20 with a shower or two developing on Wednesday and Thursday, but we are fining up on Friday and warming up under sunshine, reaching for 26, followed by 25 on Saturday, 29 and then 30 on Monday. But tomorrow, back to work and back to normal. Mitch, going to be 10 degrees cooler than it was today.
Throw open those windows.
Absolutely.
It's a great feeling. Thank you, Son. Now here's what's on Sunrise in the morning.
Thanks, Mitch. Tomorrow on Sunrise, why cash can still be king. By not using it, we're paying more than $1 billion in fees.
The fight to keep cash before the banks take even more. Plus, inside the Oscars after parties, there'll be some sore heads.
See you in the morning, Melbourne.
And that's the way it is this Monday, the 11th of March. Thanks for your company. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.
Stream 7 News live and on demand on 7plus and stay informed on 7news.com.au. Nobody knows news better.